Here we go!
You're listening to the video game show on URN.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Saturday, it's 2 o'clock, it's the video game show on URN. There is quite a loud buzzing in these headphones, so I'm actually gonna take them off my head. I am your host for today. I'm Mark. I'm gonna be Jazz. I'm sitting here with Megatron, also known as Dylan. How's it going, Dylan?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright actually. And then I'm over there with the man on the deck, Soundwave. It's Jack. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing okay. Our intros actually were a reference. I watched a trailer for a film this morning. I watched a trailer for that new Transformers movie.
Well,
really?
last night. There's a new one out yesterday, right?
Yeah, it looks really silly. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it.
Looks silly in the best way.
Anthony Hopkins in a Transformers movie.
Right. That makes me want to see it so much. Wait, we're not the film show. What's going on?
Oh yeah, but
I love it, though.
I do like Transformers.
Michael
Transformers are
Bay's
pretty cool.
he's stepping out of the Transformer franchise now, apparently.
Is it after last night? I think
It
he's
was on
doing last
Reddit
night.
this morning. He's doing last night,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's done now. But
Yeah.
after that, he's stepping out.
Thank God for that, eh?
I don't know, they're pretty fun.
I mean, they did bring us that wonderful line, "I'm under the enemy scrotum." So, you know. Well, that was the film minute for the video game show hour. Let's talk about some video games, guys. It's pretty cool. I've actually got something I want to talk about very briefly before we jump into some news.
You finished a certain game, didn't you? That you've been playing for, what was it, 18 months now?
Yeah, I've finished. I've finally removed the albatross from my neck that is The Witcher 3. 178 hours later, I've finished The Witcher 3 and both the expansions to what I believe is 100% completion.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Started August the 16th, 2015.
And I mean, The Witcher's not a small game by any means. It's just as a standalone game, and to play the expansions as well. You know, a lot of people saying, obviously, Blood and Wine won best RPG at the VGAs, and it was only an expansion. And do you think it was worth that award? Do you think it deserved it?
It's really good.
Yeah, you've been going on about it for a while.
It's probably better than like the main quest in The Witcher 3. Like I really really like The Witcher 3 as an RPG. I think as what it does from a technical and storytelling perspective is awesome. I actually think that maybe its story itself is weaker than the story in The Witcher 2, maybe even The Witcher 1. I don't know. I might have to think more about that.
Yeah.
But I think from a story and gameplay perspective, I think it loses actually some of the more interesting bits about Witcher 2, but it replaces those by making probably the biggest and most well-written and varied and detailed and like lifelike world I've ever played in an RPG.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. But then Blood and Wine is just an awesome like 40-hour roller coaster with a brilliant, really tight, self-contained story.
I guess they already had the backbone to build.
Yeah.
They were working obviously on the game for the first part, and that meant maybe the story fell a bit by the wayside. And then with Blood and Wine, they've already got the backbone, they've got the game. They just need to write the good story. So I guess they can go back to it, can't they? And it
Yeah,
explains a lot. That's why I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. What is it?
2077.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that's their new game. That's like they've said is going to come out anywhere between this year and like 2021. So I don't know. Maybe it'll come out.
It's actually only called Cyberpunk, and that's the release date.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but yeah. If even half of the care they put into making the world in The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt is put into Cyberpunk 2077, that's going to be a hell of an RPG.
Yeah, which is an incredible. I wish I went back and play it more. And obviously, you're always bringing it up recently because it's basically the only game you've played for solidly for the past few weeks.
Yeah, like for the past couple of months, I've been trying to make a really concerted effort to get it finished.
Yeah,
and I have, and so it's all I've really been talking about. But
Are you ever going to go back to that save, or are you just going to do it now and, say that you're done and maybe go back to it every now and then if you just feel like...
I don't know, like I looked at every question mark, like I did every quest. I think all I have left to do in it is I got all of the money and supplies and plans I'd need to make like the last 2 or 3 bits of armor from the sets that I don't wear.
Yeah.
And so it's like maybe to get a really... Because in Blood and Wine you can get a house. And in that house you can have armor stands, so you can put up your complete sets of armor if you want. So I've got all the armor I wear is all like top tier Grandmaster. and then I've got master crafted sets of all the other armor, but I haven't got full Grandmaster sets of everything else. So maybe that's all I've got really left to do. But I don't know. It feels just kind of nice that it's done.
Yeah.
I can focus on other things now. I got Uncharted 4 for Christmas, so maybe I'll finally play that. I've heard that game's really good.
That'll take you another 200 hours maybe.
I bloody hope not. So yeah, that's I just wanted to quickly talk about that. But we've actually got loads of news to talk about. It's been a lot of news going on in the world.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff.
We've suddenly went from having nothing to talk about to having way too much to talk about.
Quite a bit going on.
Everyone kind of got over the Christmas doldrums. The Switch came out, and then people were like, "Oh, we can do stuff now.
Yeah,
we can talk about other things.
People will pay attention to us."
So Sony's had a pretty good week.
Yeah, they have, haven't they?
Sony posted their numbers for the last financial quarter, the 3 months preceding December, and I believe it is, in terms of video game console sales, it is the best month in terms of sale and revenue not only they've ever had for the PS4, but Sony has ever had for a PlayStation.
Wow.
That's pretty intense.
I think...
So was this the last quarter of 2016 then?
Yeah. Well, because the financial year goes to April.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we are currently in Q4 for the financial quarter. So it was December, November, October.
Oh, okay.
And this is so for those 3 months. That's like, apparently they are now, in terms of their sales growth, they're starting to overtake where the PS2 was at this point for the PS4.
Man, that's pretty impressive. The PS2 sold really, really well.
Yeah.
I was watching this is relevant. It's going to sound like it won't be. I was watching, Game Theory on YouTube.
Yeah.
They did a thing with Reggie Fils-Aimé about the Switch. And they were talking about the PS2 in that, and how basically it just stomped all over basically everything at the time. And to think that the PS4 is getting to those levels, it's just like, well...
Like, it's like, obviously the Pros come out, and we've got a little bit to talk about that as well, and the Slims come out too. Yeah. So they've now gone to a 2 SKU kind of setup, and apparently PSVR has done well enough to actually impact sales figures, they've said.
Man,
really?
Which is awesome.
So people are buying the PS4 to get a PSVR, basically.
That's what it seems to mean, which is cool, because PSVR is kind of the hope for consumer VR at the moment.
Yeah.
Because nobody's got the £1,500 that you need to actually use an Oculus Rift or Vive properly. I
mean, I actually know it's a second-hand knowing someone, I guess. One of my friends was posting about it on... They got Resident Evil 7, and they were talking about how they really wanted to play it in VR, and one of their friends had it, so they went over and played. And it's just like, the fact that I know someone who... I don't really know anybody who's got a Vive or a Rift.
Yeah.
I know people who have used them, but I'm not really connected to anyone who actually has them.
But like,
PS4's
you can go and
actually out
spend
there.
£400 and get a PSVR.
Yeah, and if you've already got a PlayStation, that's kind of like, if you've had it for a while, that can be your next thing you're saving for. Obviously, it's still expensive, but the people who buy these consoles, it's the kind of thing you would go and buy. It's your next console, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really good that it's doing well. It makes me really happy. Yeah. So talking about the PS4 Pro, there's an update coming out for the PlayStation firmware, update 4.5, and among other things, it's got external hard drive support.
Yeah, which is
good.
I think the PS4 has needed that for quite some time.
Yeah,
I know you can change the internal hard drive, but I think having that sort of external hard drive.
It's so much easier.
Yeah,
like, as much as it's relatively simple to change the internal hard drive and those things, the fact that on Xbox One, since like almost the beginning, you could just plug a hard drive in and it would work.
I think from the beginning, right?
Is it from the beginning? Yeah, I mean, I'm not certain, but for a long time at least.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's something that, a lot of people will start doing now, considering how much memory the games take up. I've got an Xbox, and I've got the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare with Modern Warfare.
How many gigs is that again,
And
mate?
I think Modern Warfare is like about 75 gigs, and Infinite.
That's a 10-year-old video game.
I know,
Jack.
and Infinite Warfare.
75 gigabytes.
Infinite Warfare is like 50 odd gigs, so that game alone is 120 gigs, and that's that's over a fifth of the memory that I've got, 500 gigabytes.
And like
Xbox
Halo
One,
5 is what, Dylan?
Halo 5's nearing 100 now.
Yeah,
mate.
Because of all the updates and stuff they keep getting.
You need external hard drives make it easy, which is cool.
I can't get so obviously I've got an external hard drive now, but when I first had the Xbox, I was just working off the 500 gigs it's got on it. And it was okay for a while, but I had to delete some games, stuff like that. I had to have to manage what I was actually playing.
I find that now, if I want to install a game, I have to uninstall a game that I'm not going to be playing in the foreseeable future.
But that's
at the moment.
the worst part
miserable, though.
now, because on my Halo 5 was one of the first games I got, because obviously, why wouldn't I?
As we know, you quite like Halo.
And it keeps updating because they're doing that and they're nice. But that means that every time I turn it on, it's going, oh yeah, we've got an update to give you, but you've got no space on your old hard drive. It's like, I know, because you've given me so many updates. I've got like 3 games on my external hard drive now. It's like Witcher, the original Titanfall, and Halo 5. There's a few other little things that I don't want to delete because it's story stuff.
Yeah.
But those are the 3 main ones, and it's just like, damn,
Yeah, like, it's awesome that they've got that. I think in 4.5, I think the beta for 4.5 has come out today. So I think if you're in, if you're on PS Plus and you're in their preview program, a bit like Xbox One preview, you can get hold of it. So it's probably, the actual thing's probably going to come out in a couple of months. But it's also got new custom themes, finally, which the PS3 had for ages, and that was really cool.
Well, you had that Metal Gear one, didn't you?
Yeah, that Metal Gear one's great. I've got loads of wicked ones. Custom themes. They're gonna fiddle with the menu system a bit more, which is great because I don't like the games menu on the PlayStation 4. I think it's bad.
None of them seem to have nailed it yet, though. The Xbox One's really rubbish too.
I really liked the cross-media bar from the PlayStation 3. Because it split everything up into nice sections, and games were always in games, and there was like just a folder that was all your downloaded games, and there was the disc there. Whereas on the PS4, it's like, oh, all your apps are just in one row, and whatever the most recent app you've used gets put to the front.
Yeah.
So you can, but it's also the most recent one that's updated.
It's because they like
if you haven't turned it on in a little bit, suddenly all your games get pushed behind like all of their video app updates and stuff.
It's because they want, these machines are kind of not just video game consoles anymore, are they? They're a bit more, we want you to do these other things on them, so let's sort of push the media aspect on you. Even though they're kind of doing it a bit quietly after the whole Xbox firestorm that they had trying to do it.
And then the other thing is apparently they're bringing out, they call it the boost mode for the Pro. So the PlayStation 4 Pro at the moment operates on a system whereby you put a game in it and it runs like it does on the PS4 unless it's got a PS4 Pro patch. And so it's a game-by-game basis where the developers have to put out a patch that utilises the new power of the Pro.
Yeah.
It's my understanding of how it works. So what they're saying now is they're putting in a boost mode that you can put it on, and games that don't have a PS4 Pro patch can now have an increase in performance.
Yeah.
Which is useful.
For the games that don't actually run that well on PS4, I guess.
Yeah,
and others, obviously.
And are old enough that those developers won't bother putting in the time to patch them.
Yeah. Cool.
Which I think is cool. I think that's really good. I think that's a useful thing. I think it's a yet another step to making the PS4 Pro viable.
Yeah.
Which is rad.
Yeah, it means that there's a point to it other than just sort of all these big games that should really be working that well anyway. Yeah. They're the only things getting it. But obviously lots of people like those sort of smaller games, the ones that get less attention, and like you say, older games.
Yeah,
exactly. People keep playing them, but if they still work a bit rubbish on the thing, it's nice that there's something you can do now.
Yeah, it's nice that now if you've got a Pro and you want to play your copy of, I don't know, Wolfenstein: The New Order, now you don't have to wait for or is it Human Head Studios or whatever it was? I think it might be Machine Head actually, whichever one it was, to put out a PS4 Pro patch. You can just put on boost mode and get a boost in performance. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's some Nintendo news as well. We do.
There was?
Yeah, it's nothing quite like that. But Nintendo have come out saying, I don't remember exactly who it was. It might even have been Reggie. But they've said there are 100 games in development for the Switch.
Which I think is, after the I wouldn't say disappointment, but it wasn't as much of a spectacle as we wanted from like the announcement games. Obviously, you got the Zelda and Mario.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the release games, there wasn't really much in the way of excitement. And I think, like
and
we were saying,
considering the Wii U had like 10 games at launch and like 100 games at the end of its 4-year life.
Yeah, if they're working on 100 games currently, and
that's awesome.
That's going to be released over the next couple of years with the Switch, then that's going to be brilliant.
Mate, say 10% of them are any good. That's 10 good games for the Switch in the next couple of years, which is more than I expected.
Yeah,
and 10% is quite a small number.
And considering you've got a lot of developers are keen to work on the Switch as well and to develop games for the Switch, I think it's fantastic for Nintendo's future in the Switch.
I think
definitely.
The thing with it though is it like obviously developers were probably a bit less keen to work on the Wii U because while it was different and annoying to work with, it wasn't anything that new because it was still your home console that it's not going to offer that much of a different experience, whereas the Switch is still like, if you're putting the effort to working on this slightly different machine, you're still getting people who are getting a different experience out of it. It's not a home console, it's
and it's
something else.
As we were discussing last week, because the week before,
yeah.
Because it has so many different things it can do, I imagine I imagine of those 100 games, there are going to be a lot of developers who are going, oh, this is great, I can bring my experience to a portable home console, so it can be at home and it can be on the go, and that's rad. And there'll also be other developers going, ooh, I can make these interesting experiences that involve all this weird technology.
Yeah.
And I still don't know which way is really the right way to go and which console's actually going to be any good. But it's really cool that there are 100 different games that are going to come out for that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
At
when,
least.
but if they say people are making 100, that's awesome, because that I want that console to do well because it has potential.
Yeah,
but
I
at the
want it to be
moment,
good.
I'm still just not sold on that thing.
I think I heard a story somewhere on the internet that Target opened up their pre-orders again for the Switch and immediately
awesome.
sold out within the first hour.
Damn.
Which it shows that people really want to get their hands on the
I guess like the Wii U was such a wet fart
Yeah.
that people are going. I think people think this is the next Nintendo console. You know?
Yeah. Like, so many people did think it was just like a Wii peripheral. That
Yeah.
The Wii U, that's what really killed it. But this is, at least it's got a different name. It's the Switch.
I really hope
They're
it does
switching
well,
it
man.
up.
I really hope it does well. Another bit of Nintendo news, actually. So, Super Mario Run.
Yes.
All the way to Super Mario Run.
Yeah.
Sold, there's 78 million downloads.
A hell of a lot.
And the President of Nintendo has come out saying of those 78 million downloads, 5% paid for the full version. Now, the game is a $10 game.
Man, I thought it was less than that.
So if you extrapolate that out, I did a little bit of maths before the show. That comes in at something like $39 million.
Wow.
Golly. That's a lot from what the game seems to be.
I think
Yeah.
I can double check that maths, but I think it's.
that
I
sounds
think,
right.
It
I
was
think that's
released
about right.
It was released as a free-to-play game, wasn't it? But you only got
sorry.
the first
Yeah.
3 levels, and then you had
That
to
is right.
sort of pay money to unlock more levels, and then
Yeah, I
pay
think
money to
it was
unlock
like you got the
skins
first
and
3
stuff as
levels,
well.
and then you paid a tenner, and then you got or $10. I don't even know what it is in pounds, and then you got the full game,
Yeah.
and then. I think you could maybe buy coins in it as well, possibly. I don't remember.
I'm not too sure. I mean, a lot
It
of
was one of
apps
those
nowadays are
freemium games.
pay
isn't it?
like offer in-app purchases and stuff, and whether or not you choose to go ahead with the in-app purchases is up to you. But yeah, I mean, I downloaded it when
bank.
it first came out, and
What did you think?
I liked it because it was a Mario game. I then did go on to uninstall it as soon as it said, oh yeah, you have to pay $8.99 or whatever it was, $7.99 to go on and continue and play the basically the 3/4 of the game that they had left out. But
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a good concept, and apparently a lot of people really love it.
Yeah, I've heard that
You
it's
know-
actually a really, like, because obviously it's the idea behind it has existed. It's like there's Temple Run, that sort
Yeah.
of thing,
Yeah.
and they've done their own thing with it. It looks like they've made a pretty good version.
Yeah, I have heard that either it is a brilliant mobile game or
Yeah.
a bad Mario game. Which is interesting. I've heard a lot of people are like, oh yeah, this is a wicked Nintendo mobile game. It hits all of those mobile game buttons you want. It's got the freemium concepts, and it's like quick rounds and score based and all that other stuff. Or there's the other side of the coin, people just going, it's just not a good Mario game.
But I think that's the
I
problem,
think
isn't it?
I think if you can't divorce it from that, then
Yeah.
I think there's a dissonance there. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it. I tend not to play mobile games.
It's not on
really.
Android anyway, is it?
It's out on Android in a couple of months, I
Yeah.
think.
But I think that's the
Which is
problem with
absolutely shocking.
people saying it's a bad Mario game. It's kind of it's the wrong way to think of it. Like you say,
Yeah.
you've got to disconnect, because you could just get Mario on your phone if you wanted. It's the same
Yeah,
with like
totally.
Pokemon Go. Obviously, when
Yeah.
you were talking about it, it's like I'd prefer to just play Pokemon on my phone, and you did, and it's like
and then
do
I
that.
proceeded to play like 40 hours of Pokemon Red on my phone.
Yeah.
Like when I was commuting to work.
So these people going, well, it's just not. It's not a good Mario game. It's like that's a perfectly good thing to say, but you might as
Yeah.
well just get Mario on your phone if
Yeah,
that's
I
what you
think
wanted.
it's just just get a DS and get
Yeah.
a Mario game. Like
Yeah.
I think it's just there's a dissonance there that is
Yeah.
fascinating. But I don't know. There's another one of those Nintendo mobile games is coming out soon, or is even out. A Fire Emblem one.
Oh really?
Yeah, they announced it at the Switch, didn't they? At the Switch conference, they not say that they were talking about developing a mobile app for.
Yeah, I think because obviously they had their deal with DMA Designs. No, they're Rockstar. No, it wasn't DMA Designs.
No idea.
I don't remember what they were called. DNA Designs.
Pretty close.
Yeah, DNA Designs. Well, no, not DNA Designs, just DNA. And DNA do a lot of mobile development stuff.
Yeah.
And Nintendo did a switch with them to make a lot of the infrastructure and back end for their mobile games, and that's where that Miitomo thing came from. You remember Miitomo, the social experiment kind of thing, and that's where Mario Run is coming from. And this new Fire Emblem's come out that's like instead of it being because Fire Emblem's a turn-based RPG, I believe, like turn-based tactics RPG, and so I think it's like smaller battles, in that, and it's like a little bit more of a tight, bite-sized experience, which makes sense for mobile. And then the one that's really interesting, and the one they haven't spoken about at all since they announced it like last year, Animal Crossing on the mobile.
Man,
I heard about that. Yeah,
if it's actually an Animal Crossing game on a mobile phone,
that's gonna do well.
Well, I love Animal Crossing, and can never ever get more than a couple of days into because the thing with Animal Crossing is to get good at it, you have to play it every day.
Yeah,
because it works with a real-time clock, and so after a while, I always just forget.
Yeah,
if it was on my phone,
get your daily reminders.
Yeah,
but that could literally bring about the end of the world.
Well, there's that. I don't know if you've seen it's quite an old webcomic now, and it's Pokemon announced like a RPG version of Pokemon, so essentially Skyrim with Pokemon. And then the world, like over the next few weeks or whatever, the world collapses and it's apocalypse, and a guy goes into Valve Studios, and Gabe Newell's there. He goes, Gabe, you need to help us, and he releases Half-Life 3.
So we've got a couple of news stories left I want to talk about, but Jack, should we have a bit of music first?
Yeah, we've actually had we've been speaking to you for God knows how long, 20 minutes or
minutes,
so now. We are going to go to a song, and this is leading back to our earlier discussion about The Witcher 3. We've got a couple of songs from the Witcher games coming up. We've got The Witcher 3. This is probably one of the most iconic tracks. This is the opening track. This is The Trail from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Hi there, I'm Arava, a Formula 1 YouTuber, and you're listening to URN Video Game Show.
Hey everybody, we're back, and that was actually Drink Up There's More from The Witcher 3.
I hit the wrong button, sorry about that. We will be
no worries, it's all good
on.
music, mate.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack to that game is just incredible as well.
That's
really
lovely
good.
Gwent music, right?
No, the Gwent music is... We'll put the Gwent music on a bit later.
I hope so.
That might be one of the Gwent tracks, but I think the actual Gwent track is a slightly different one that we will listen to in a bit.
Yep.
Oh, mate, the music in The Witcher 3 is so good.
It's a good game.
It is, as we've said many times on this show, it's a brilliant game.
Considering on average I've played 20 minutes of it a day for the last 18 months, yes, it is quite a good game.
It's like this game's version of my... I worded that wrong. I'm going to let it go.
Right, okay, so we've got some more news to talk about. This is a cool one. This is about ZeniMax.
Yeah.
ZeniMax are the parent company for Bethesda Softworks, who are the Fallout people and the Oblivion people and the Elder Scrolls people or whatever. And then
Doom
they
people.
also... Well, yeah, because it's ZeniMax Media is like a huge thing that has fingers in lots of pies. And then they own Bethesda, who were the
own id.
publishing arm for Bethesda Softworks and id and Human Head and... Is it the Dishonored people as well? Yeah.
Yeah, Arcane.
Arcane, yeah, that's it. So, ZeniMax had a lawsuit.
Yeah. Quite a long one now at this point.
Yeah, so...
It's been going on for quite some time, yeah.
3 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
It's
so does
2014.
someone to break this down? Is there someone know the details?
Yeah, I kind of know what's going on. So in 2014, it was sort of at this, I guess, sort of around the start of all this Oculus hype.
Yeah, that was about the time of that Kickstarter.
Was it John McCormack left id Software?
John
Right.
Carmack.
Yeah. I don't know. Every time I read it, and I knew it was wrong, I read it as McCormack, and then... And now I say it like that.
Whoa, man.
John Carmack left id Software because he said they wouldn't let him make VR games there. So
Yeah, I think basically, like, after pioneering id Tech for 20 years, he sort of said,
he wanted to do new stuff, didn't he?
I want to do VR stuff. Because also in his spare time, he's one of the SpaceX guys as well.
Yeah.
Like in his spare time, he literally makes space rockets. Like he's the smartest person on the planet. It's outrageous.
But yeah, so he left to go over to Oculus to do VR stuff, and then they got big with their
the Rift.
rather well-known Rift now, yeah. And ZeniMax are claiming that he took a lot of work that ZeniMax had done, a lot of their code and a lot of their research into VR, took it over to Oculus Rift and helped Palmer Luckey, is it? He helped him develop it.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other people left ZeniMax to go work with Oculus, and they're claiming that they all Like a lot of code and research has gone into it. So I think that's what the original lawsuit was, right?
So basically ZeniMax was suing what amounted to Facebook for like $4 billion.
Yeah.
For
a lot of money.
stealing trade secrets and technology and all this other really intense stuff.
Because weirdly, in the middle of it, wasn't it, that Facebook bought Oculus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a whole thing about that recently as well. They were really sort of getting onto Zuckerberg about it because they were like, you didn't do your... Like, you got into this quite... Like, there's a lot going on. And I was reading about it, and there's the lawyer went to him. So you decided on Friday to do your legal due diligence
To
and
buy
on
this
Monday,
company.
and then buy it on Monday, and he just went, "Yep." It's like that's not enough time, but
So like in
okay.
2 days, he felt he had made enough of a legal investigation to spend $2 billion and
Yeah.
buy Oculus.
And $2 billion
Yeah.
plus an extra billion if certain criteria were met.
Yeah.
A lot of money. So obviously this got all a bit.
The whole thing's a
out
bit
of hand.
hinky, isn't it?
In the end, it was decided that the original lawsuit wasn't. The Oculus were in the clear. They didn't steal
so
the
after
stuff.
a 2-week trial,
Yeah.
I believe concluded a couple of days ago.
Like 3 days ago or something. I
Yeah,
think.
it was decided that Oculus didn't steal anything
but they
from
did
ZeniMax.
supposedly do other things. Was it they?
Well, basically, what it came down to is like they sort of said, okay, look, Palmer Luckey has actually shown, whatever you think about Palmer Luckey, we won't get into that. He has shown throughout his lifetime that he has the technical acumen to make a headset.
Yeah.
And in the communication he has had with John Carmack, he clearly hasn't. Like John Carmack's been helping him, but they haven't been using trade secrets.
Yeah.
The issue ended up coming down to actually
NDAs and stuff,
Palmer
wasn't
Luckey, when Palmer Luckey left ZeniMax to pursue Oculus stuff, he basically broke an NDA, and then there were things like one of the first test beds for the Oculus Rift was the Doom 3 BFG edition, which is obviously owned by id, which is owned by Bethesda, which is owned by ZeniMax. So it sort of came down to, okay, you didn't steal any tech, but you were kind of using our code when you shouldn't have.
Yeah. So there's a lot of.
So what was the payout?
I think it was in total. It ended up being $500 million, which is
$500 million.
insane.
While it's still a lot, though, a lot less than the $4 billion that they were asking for.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a lot of money. But it ended up being, I think it was £250 from Oculus for the breaking the NDA. Then it was another £50 million from Oculus for something else. Then from Palmer Luckey and Cormac, it was $50 million for I think it was misappropriation of trade secrets was the words they used, and then finally $150 million from the former CEO or chief or something.
Yeah, from like the CEO of Oculus
like
or something.
Jonathan Iribe or something.
Yeah,
Can't
so
remember the first name.
it kind of breaks down to they weren't as raw and criminal as everyone thought they were.
Yeah,
but
there was still some stuff going on.
Also, maybe they didn't act as they should have as professionals. Bear in mind, John Carmack has been in this industry since like 1992.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most respected people in video games development.
Yeah.
Well, they're still using. Is that his stuff, or is it for the backbone of like Quake and stuff?
Yeah, well, like the id Tech engine, id Tech 2, which became Gold Source, and all those other engines like became the Source engine. Like Titanfall 2 is a heavily modified version of the Source engine, which is a modified version of Gold Source, which is a modified version of the Quake 2 engine, which John Carmack made. All of the Call of Duty games since 2 have used modified versions of id Tech 2.
Yeah.
They still use, like Call of Duty games still use the netcode for their online
they do,
map
don't they?
making.
If it ain't broke, don't fix
online.
it.
Yeah, because, and bearing in mind that's netcode that John Carmack wrote in a weekend. Because when Quake 1 came out, everyone was like, the matchmaking, this isn't very good, the netcode isn't very good. So he went away for a weekend and made Quake World, which is still like the gold standard.
I mean,
he's...
If in your spare time you're literally doing rocket science,
yeah,
it's something you could do, I guess.
Yeah.
But he just made a serious whoopsie with this Oculus thing.
Yeah.
You know, like taking hard drives full of code out of the building and weird stuff like that, and just like
something funny going on.
it's just serious whoopsie.
They should have let the man make some VR.
Maybe
it
they
would've
should have
all been-
make some VR.
Especially because I bet that's gone to bite them in the ass a bit if they weren't letting him and he's gone over to Oculus, and now Oculus is doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean
They didn't seem that upset about this having to pay $500 million.
well, they could have had to pay $4 billion.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be happy if it was actually, an eighth, so...
So we've got some other news quickly. There's a lot of news going on, and not too many games coming out yet. But
It's the beginning of the year. There never is there?
yeah,
It's always around March time when the some games
Yeah,
start
it is.
dropping.
So, well, I've got a little thing on my run of show called March Madness, which I'm going to run through because god damn, March looks intense. But Elder Scrolls Online is getting a new expansion,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and that new expansion is Morrowind.
Oh, really?
The big
Yeah,
Wow.
Morrowind
Okay.
is the big one,
Yeah.
and so they're going, okay, to keep people playing Elder Scrolls, why don't we add in a whole new region? Because the last update was their was it Tamriel Unbound or something,
Yeah,
or
something
something,
like that.
which was like, we're going to bring
Yeah.
all of the areas together so there's less loading and stuff between them and make it more of a seamless realm.
Yeah.
And so the fact now they're just going, let's put even more realms in, is wicked.
Yeah. I mean, that game sort of had a pretty tricky start, didn't it? It was originally subscription based, and then
Yeah.
nobody really played it. So now you just have to buy the game.
Yeah,
and you
and
get
then
it.
you can
Don't
just
you?
play it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know a few people who have played it, but they didn't seem
Yeah.
to play it for long, and I've
think-
heard good things though.
Like, I think, does Mikey still play it? He seems to really like it.
He's on a RuneScape hype now. He's doing his hardcore Iron Man, which he died after like 10 minutes or something.
RuneScape's still a video
RuneScape's,
game.
yeah,
No, he's
RuneScape's still a
playing-
figure, so
He's not even playing current RuneScape. He's playing the old like 2007 version of RuneScape.
Oh, that's
because that's
nuts.
still a thing online.
Okay, well, yeah.
But yeah, sorry,
but Elder
Morrowind.
Scrolls is getting... I don't know. It seems that enough people... Okay, so that game came out in like 2014,
Yeah.
and I kind of assumed that nobody was playing it because I never heard anything about it. But the fact that they just keep putting out more and more stuff for it,
Yeah.
even though they got away from their subscription-based model, someone's still playing it, which is cool.
Does
I think.
this mean that they're unlikely to be making an Elder Scrolls? What is it, 6 at this
6.
point?
Nah, they're definitely making Elder Scrolls 6.
They have to, right? Because
Yeah, like Skyrim blew the pants off everybody everywhere
yeah.
for years.
I mean, they just re-released it and people
like the
fell in
third
love with it
time.
again. Yeah, it's not like that's ever going to die, so they might as well make another one.
So yeah, like Elder Scrolls 6, everyone would just lose their mind.
Yeah. Which is weird because people didn't really lose their mind over Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, I think the issue with that was once you take it online,
It
I think
gets a bit
I think
funny.
it lost some of its magic. but-
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the fun of Skyrim was you're in your own world and you can just mess about.
It's cool though. It's cool that they're making more for that.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
You know, at some point, I guess now Fallout 4 is out, and I think all that DLC is done.
I've not really
I
heard
guess
much about it.
Elder
Nobody
Scrolls 6 will be
really
next,
cared
won't
about
it?
Fallout,
Maybe
did
Bethesda's thing at E3. They'll go, hey, Elder Scrolls 6.
they? I think that'd be a bit soon, wouldn't it?
What about they say next year?
Nah,
I don't know.
even then. I mean, maybe
I
a
don't know.
teaser 2 years in advance. I can maybe imagine. But
maybe they just say that they're working on something big.
Yeah.
That's normally how it goes with stuff
Yeah,
like
they'll
that.
get
Dragon
Todd
Balls.
Howard out, and he'll
Yeah.
just throw up like 6 fingers and then run off the stage.
yeah. I could see it happening. He likes that kind of thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
We got a last bit of news, and it's a funny one. Jack, what's the last bit of news? Can you read it?
I can't.
It's about that AMA.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry about that. I've completely forgot. Yeah, so this company called, not really a company, it's a marketplace, let's say.
Yeah.
Called G2A, which is a place where you can buy and sell your sort of codes for downloading games. So
Digital keys, I
Digital
believe they're
keys.
called.
and they did an AMA, when was it? Was it it was a few days ago now, wasn't
At
it?
some point this week.
And they did an AMA and they released, they got a lot of hate for it.
Yeah,
Because
it
a lot
went
of
bad.
people were, they obviously wanted to answer questions and stuff, and a lot of people were just saying how they don't work with developers to, give them what they deserve, and how there's a lot of issues surrounding them pirating the keys and them selling
Yeah.
fake goods and
So
doing all
basically,
sorts of
there
weird
are
stuff.
a lot of key stores, like digital key stores, all over the internet,
Yeah.
Yep.
and a lot of them are, they are grey market as hell.
Yeah.
Like everything about them is very dubiously legal. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
dodgy stuff.
did this company buy all these keys in Russian wooden nickels or something, and then sell them all back? And there's because of the way international pricing works and going online and stuff, you can get some weird stuff going on there.
Yeah.
G2A, on the other hand, is a marketplace where people could sell the keys they had acquired. Meant that it was actually quite outwardly criminal.
Yeah.
Obviously not explicitly, but
It's obvious that it's going on.
yeah, like there is nobody even attempts to hide the fact that, you know, keys on there are acquired from stolen credit cards and keys on there are acquired, or some of them are just fake. Like some people just sell fake
Sometimes
keys
they're
on
just
there.
not actually a game, are they?
Yeah, sometimes it's just 12 numbers someone's said is a key, and then they're going to take your $10 or whatever.
And there's no buyer protection on G2A, is there?
well, there is, but you have to pay for it.
Ah.
Yeah, you have to pay G2A, and that was something that came with the AMA as well. Like G2A they are not a particularly great company in the first place.
All their responses
And
were pretty.
so yeah, I think so.
They
I mean,
kept sort of dodging around like the important questions that were being asked as well.
The stuff I read, they didn't even dodge around them. Like the first few that I saw, they just kind of went, "No, your questions,
Yeah.
like you're just being dumb. You're trying to trick us." It's like,
being
they're not.
very-
That was a legitimate
very sort of
question.
ignorant as well.
Yeah.
And saying that, you know, you're wrong and everything we're doing is right.
They're kind of assuming that the people who are going to be reading that AMA are just dumb and that they can trick them. And it's like, well, no.
yeah, I think
Reddit's it is dumb sometimes, but also it's pretty smart sometimes.
Yeah, I think someone at G2A went, "Oh, let's do an AMA and try and get some good publicity,"
Yeah.
not really realizing that everyone on Reddit was immediately going to call them out and say, "Why do you allow people to basically rob developers and make money off it?" Because
Yeah.
that's basically what happens on there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it went really bad, and it's well worth it. A Reddit AMA, obviously, Reddit Ask Me Anything. If you Google G2A AMA and just have a read,
First
because
thing that comes
it
up.
is a really fascinating exploration of
all the
bad
edits alone.
publicity and like
Yeah.
the fact that they had to post in the parent post saying, if you actually want to see any of our responses, you have to sort it in a completely different order, otherwise all you get is people just telling us that we're terrible.
Yeah, because everyone downvoted
Yeah.
their answers because they were bad answers.
Yeah, like it's nuts. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then after that we're gonna come back and go through some reviews. Before we take a quick break, I want to say, quite late into the show, because I'm such a professional host, you can get in touch with us on the phone, and you can call us at 07903 545 252. You can get to us on the Facebooks and the Twitters at URN1350. You can send us a free web text at www.urn1350.net. If you go to Facebook and you look up the URN video game show, you will get directly to us, and we would love to hear from you. If you go to YouTube and you look for Low Expectations Media, you will also get to us, and you will see
Some video.
you'll see some videos, and you'll see that we're going to try and put up some Gwent stuff, and we've got us playing some Neo Geo games,
Yep.
and there's the archives of all these shows as well. Go on there. I don't know. I don't want to really say like, comment, and subscribe, but like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm desperate, please. But we're now, I think we might actually have the trail.
Yeah, we're going to play the song that I was meant to play earlier. This is The Trail from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
And we're back. That was the trail.
It's a pretty good song.
Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? The music in The Witcher is so good.
Yeah, they are incredible songs.
It's so epic.
What makes that atmosphere of that game?
Yeah,
Part
man.
of it, at least.
Is when and all the different tracks fit. It's like the overworld music fits all the different places you go as well.
Yeah.
Like White Orchard is a little bit more chill and upbeat, and then you get to Velen and it's a bit more grimy and miserable, because obviously Velen is just a war-torn swamp at that point.
Imagine if the soundtrack was actually just Stormzy.
That would be a pretty intense
Temps.
game.
Mate, temps all up in Novigrad. Yeah, they're like, Novigrad is a bit more hustle and bustle, like urban style, and then you get out to Skellige, and because obviously Skellige is this wild Viking wilderness place, and the
Yeah.
music is, the music in that game is really good. Yeah, like, the world building in that game is really incredible.
They've done a good job.
I know we keep
going
talking
on
about
about
it, but like, I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that's kind of bummed that when the world building's so good and every single side quest, like almost to a fault, has a brilliant story in it, even if
Yeah.
it's only 20 minutes to 2 whole hours of like a really interesting story with interesting characters and fun stuff going on, and like some of them get quite emotional and heartfelt, make you make really hard choices.
Yeah.
And then 50% of the main story is you just asking people where Siri is. So where's Siri? But like, because that's not even the problem, but the problem is you go and say, I want to know where Siri is. And so someone goes, okay, look, if you help me out with this, then I'll tell you what series, and then you do a really interesting quest that has nothing to do with the main plot, and then they tell you where Ciri is, you go to the next place, and you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you find Ciri, funnily enough, and then the second half of the game is actually like quite interesting and really moves through some good story beats. But just the more I think about it, the more I think that the first half of that game, like it's got some of the best quests in the entire game are in the first half of that game. Like the bloody Baron stuff with the Witches of Crookback Bog, it's so good. And yet it doesn't actually matter with the main quest really at all. It's just you doing stuff for some dude named Phil. Literally named Phil, so we can tell you where your kid is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still get the good story. Even if the overarching one's a little bit weak, you get all those good stories.
Oh yeah, totally. I think just coming off Witcher 2, which obviously completely different style of game. Completely different thing it's trying to do, but The Witcher 2 tells a really detailed, tight 30-hour story that has possibly the best execution of like a story split, like a decision point, and then you literally get basically two different stories in the middle of that game, depending on which one you do, and it's the best I've ever seen a game do it. And so coming off The Witcher 2, where its main story, because that's all it really has, is like impeccable, basically.
Yeah.
Then The Witcher 3 does so many other things better, and its main story, I just felt so let down by. I say let down. I didn't. It's good. It's really good.
Just the rest of it is so good that it's kind of the weak part.
Yeah, which is kind of a hilarious complaint, really. It's like, oh, this game is so good that one of the good bits of it isn't as good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People should play The Witcher 3, man.
It's also worth mentioning, isn't it? Because if you're recommending this game to someone and then they go and play it, and lots of people don't do the side quests, they do the main missions first. And if you go into those main missions and you're like, it's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna not understand. You need to. You can't really do the main missions without doing the side quests because you're not strong enough.
Yeah, like they are leveled in such a way that you have to do a few side quests at least just to get to those points.
Yeah. Or you can just be completely OP and do all as many side quests as you can first.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I ended up doing all the DLC before the very last mission of the main story because I wanted the last thing I did to be the last thing you do. But that meant that by the time I was doing those last missions, I was 20 levels over leveled and had a bunch of gear that was 20 levels over leveled. So I was killing the boss in like 4 hits. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an awesome game, but it does have that caveat of just like, if you have to explore that world.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go insane like I did and spend 178 hours looking every single nook and cranny.
Hey man, it's only 20 minutes a day for 18 months.
But you have to, I think, to see what that game actually offers that is genuinely good.
Yeah.
You have to go and look at the nooks and crannies and see the interesting stories. You have to see the old woman and then like start to like who says that her children have gone missing and then try and explore that story and other things like that. Like there are lots of really incredible stories in The Witcher 3 that are better than the story of The Witcher 3. But we've got some other stuff that we want to talk about now.
Yep.
I've got written here on the run of show in all caps, more Gwent chat.
I mean, we can talk about it. It's
because there's a patch coming out, isn't there?
There's a patch coming out on Monday, the 6th. So in 2 days' time, there's a patch coming out. I think that's just going to be applied straight away from just as soon as you load in. It will just apply itself and update itself.
Cool.
But yeah, so they're making a lot of changes to the game. They've also announced. So at the moment, it's in closed beta stage. We still don't have any confirmed date about when the open beta is going to be launched. And
are they doing open beta before full release?
I think so, yeah. So okay. I think what it's going to be is it's going to be closed beta is going to end, and then people who are on the closed beta just automatically get access to the open beta, and then sort of maybe not reintroduce a new game entirely, but maybe just say, look, this is the open beta, now it's confirmed as this is the full game, and if you want to play single player, you have to like maybe pay like £15 or whatever, because they are still working on it. We haven't really heard a lot of information about the single player, and you know, we still don't know when the open beta is going to be. We don't know when the closed beta is ending. But for now, they are releasing the 5th and I believe final faction into the Gwent game, which is of course the Nilfgaards from the original.
Yeah, so it's kind of nuts because obviously in the vanilla Gwent in The Witcher 3, the 4 factions you get are Nilfgaard, Northern Realms, Scoia'tael, monsters, and then the 5th one they add in Blood and Wine is Skellige.
Yeah.
So then when they released actual Gwent, and the 4 you got were Skellige, Northern Realms, Monsters, Scoia'tael, and then they didn't have Nilfgaard. That seemed really strange to me. But then, sort of from speaking to you a little bit about how those decks worked, it kind of makes sense, because Nilfgaard was just Northern Realms again, wasn't
It's
it?
the least different one.
Yeah.
I mean, in the actual Witcher 3 Gwent, the Nilfgaard deck was mainly heavily revolved. I think they had something like 7 or 8 spies, and spy cards allow you to play on your opponent's side of the field, but you then get to draw 2 cards. And as we all know, playing Gwent is not only about winning the rounds, but it's also about having card advantage going into the next round. So if you can play all your spies and have, twice as many cards as your opponent, then that's what you're going to do. And I think that they knew that. And they knew that they were not going to just put Nilfgaard into the game like that, because it would be well overused, and then they'd have to. I think that if they put it in earlier, they might have regretted what they would have done to it. So I think it's good that they took some time to do it.
Yeah, it's good they took some time to make it a viably different faction, as opposed to just Northern Realms with
They
more
threw
spies.
out a couple of YouTubers and streamers out to Poland to go and play test it with them.
And then they also are now, at the moment, they're releasing like a sort of pre-patch alpha version for other people who are covering it online. So if you want to go and check out the Nilfgaard decks, you can quite easily just go onto YouTube and search for Gwent Nilfgaard, and you'll be able to see all of the kind of cards that they have available. But they are introducing some new cards as well. They're changing some of the cards to make the game more level as well, because there are some factions that maybe need a bit of a boost, and some that aren't maybe getting what they need, and there are also some that are just way too powerful to. They are the top tier decks. I mean,
it's kind of nuts that something that was literally just a bit of a joke in The Witcher 3 has at this point become nuanced enough and its own thing enough that like it's approaching. I don't like to say it, but is it MLG Pro yet?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to go down that route. I think
could easily.
They obviously could,
because it looks like it's reaching almost like Hearthstone or MTGO levels of like actual nuance to the gameplay.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. Like
there is a lot of
certainly
tactics
lots
in
of
that
different.
game.
You've really got to think. Like you can mess it up really easily when you're playing. Like if you do the wrong move, then you can bring it back again, which is. I guess in Gwent you could do the same thing. You could easily do a wrong move, but because there wasn't much nuance to it,
and because you were playing against AI always as well.
Yeah, if you messed up, it was. Sometimes you could bring it back just because, like you said, the AI is rubbish. But sometimes you just couldn't do anything because there's not actually enough nuance to the game that you can change this big mistake that really ruins the rest of that round.
And I think one of the main things I did touch on earlier that they're doing is so when the closed beta ends and when the open beta starts, they're completely wiping sort of the leaderboards and stuff. And what that means is, obviously there are people who are in the beta at the moment who have spent money on the game. You can buy kegs in game, which you get 5 cards out of. And so what they're doing is for
Jack, what's the best value?
I don't actually know.
What's
I think
best value?
It's like 60 quid or something.
£65, I think you get.
How many kegs?
It's like 50 or 60.
Oh, mate, that is
like
best value right
You get
there.
a lot of kegs.
That is best value.
But so what they're doing is, if you spent money on the game, then you will get the equivalent money back as money. So if you spent maybe like
as real life money,
back, I believe it would go straight back into your GOG account, or it might just go straight back into your own account. But
it's like your PayPal wallet or whatever.
It's sort of just encouraging you. Oh yeah, so we're going to give you your money back for helping us test essentially this game that we're still working on. They've also said that I think you get like two kegs for every rank that you are, and you get 2 kegs for every level above. So for every 5 levels, you get 2 kegs.
Okay,
starting at level 5,
and
obviously.
And for rank, so that's like if you're first out of like 5,000, then you get 10,000 kegs, I guess, or
I think it's they have that's the leaderboard, and then they have like the ranks individually, so you can go up to, I think the maximum rank at the moment is rank 15. I think that's the highest.
So it's
basically based on your like EXP that you get in game and stuff like that, whilst playing in ranked mode, of course. But yeah, they're doing some nice things to it, and I can't wait till Monday when they release the patch.
That game seems awesome. I'm really happy that game is rad.
There's a lot of regret that I haven't been playing it a lot, and then I've seen other people playing it, and so you get in-game rewards, and you can use ore to buy kegs, and the ore is in-game credit, and I haven't been saving up my kegs. So I've seen a lot of people who've been saving it up for like the last month or so, and I've just been opening cards blind to the fact that Nilfgaard are coming out. So
so people are saving up kegs so that when Nilfgaard comes out, they can just get a full Nilfgaard deck or whatever.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, I mean that game looks awesome. I'm a massive fan of it. And when I first started playing it in the original Gwent, in the original Witcher, I didn't quite get it, but
Yeah.
it's so good. And like you say, it's a card game within a game that sort of started off as something that wasn't really meant to be serious, and then you could go around and collect all of the cards in the game, and now they're actually making a standalone game on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
in the
surprised.
first Witcher, they had Dice Poker as their little silly side game, and then in Witcher 2, it was just like arm wrestling,
I
and
wouldn't
you
be
could play a bit of
surprised.
Dice Poker. And now in Witcher 3, they're like, well, Dice Poker's a bit old hat now. Let's make up a card game, and now it's its own crazy, super popular thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the Game Awards next year, or at the end of this year, that this would be up for nomination for a few, because it is, just something out of nothing, and it's
That's cool.
it's grabbing a lot of attention.
Are you
as
still
well.
playing it, Dylan?
I play it from time to time. Obviously,
You've got it on the Xbox One, right?
I do, yeah. But obviously, I'm a bit. I'm still really into my Titanfall.
Yeah, you're a bit Titanfall centric.
I sent you. I think I sent you guys that photo on the group chat, didn't I? Of when I absolutely dominated a match, carried my team, got 196 points.
196 points.
Yeah, and the leader of the top of the next team got 136, and then the rest of both of our teams got less than. I think the highest was 65.
Oh my god.
But my team, each person against their corresponding teammate from the other team, so the second to second, the rest of my team were worse. So I completely carried us, and we made me quite happy.
So what you're telling me is that you're pretty good at Titanfall 2?
I'm okay. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't play in mornings. I've told you that as well a bunch
Oh
of times.
yeah,
haven't I?
tell the radio people about this, because I think this is a good public service announcement.
It's actually a fundamental flaw with Titanfall. One of the bad... No, this is a thing that's said online a lot as well. One of the bad things with it is the netcode behind it is not very good. It is... there's a lot of weird lag problems with it that you can't notice because it's not actually lag. It's just how your game responds with their game, essentially. But in the mornings, there's a lot of Australians and Russians playing. I don't know how much Russians. I think it's mostly the Australians causing the problem. They don't have a server near them. So when they're playing to one quite far away and their ping's quite high. And that affects everyone else in their game.
So when you play it in the mornings, they connect you with people, Australians who are, I guess, in the evenings having their nice evening
Exactly.
Titanfall 2. So this is actually
And
really
I'm just
only a
not
problem
very
that
good.
affects students, because they're the only people who can play video games at 9 in the morning.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a very unproblematic problem.
But nonetheless...
But it's a thing, it's
significant.
there. But yeah, there's something they maybe need to think about covering. But mornings, can't do. Evenings, absolutely destroy it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for that Titanfall 2 MLG Pro Circuit. That's what I want in life.
I would love to see that, because I see a lot of Titanfall 2 gifs on the internet, and a couple of months in now, people are doing some really insane stuff. in that
Insane
game.
things. Have you seen, I don't know if you will have seen, in Halo 5, they had that breakout mode. It was like one of the sort of opening things they did. They wanted to get into the MLG stuff.
It was Breakout, the one in the beta where all the dudes were broing really hard, and everyone said this is ridiculous.
No,
why
that's just-
why your highly trained soldiers chest bumping and doing all this other ridiculous stuff?
Which... it used to be the opening thing, which I find kind of funny.
I thought it
Found
was
kind
brilliant.
of funny
I thought it was
because that
great.
was some soldiers training on a spaceship. Why wouldn't they?
That's the conceit of Halo multiplayer, isn't it? They're all
you're
in,
on
like,
the
hollow training
Infinity,
on the
I think,
Infinity.
or something. Yeah. But anyway, Breakout was they were trying to step into MLG, and it was 5v5.
Breakout- yeah.
You only had one life.
Yeah.
Everyone had an SMG and a pistol to start. You could pick up other weapons. You had to get the flag. That was kind of it, but most people never bothered with the flag. You just killed the rest of the team.
Yeah, because everyone's only got one life and no respawns, then
Yeah,
if you just kill the other
exactly.
team, you win anyway.
And then it's best of 5 or whatever. Exactly the same thing coming to Titanfall.
Oh, really?
Almost identical, except they're only 60-second matches.
Whoa.
Because obviously Titanfall is really fast paced.
Will they still have like mobs in there? Because obviously
No,
the weird
no
thing they
mobs.
set
It's-
yeah, okay.
It's I think 6v6 pilots only on some new maps. They're bringing back zip lines, which if you played the original Titanfall and Titanfall 2, they took away, but was always a fun part because you could zip around the map. But I think so when I saw it, I was like, this is just the Halo 5 thing. But apparently it's based on a paintball game. That's
Brilliant.
just something that you can do in paintball apparently. So
Oh, cool.
but that's
Cool.
coming out, and that I think actually might be their step into it, because that is really, it's
That's incredibly
fast.
competitive.
It's
yeah.
easy to watch, isn't it? Like
60-second rounds also. Like I'm excited to see some YouTube videos come out of that
Yeah.
of people doing crazy
Or people
stuff.
getting like
Gonna be
a
intense.
complete wipe and just going for the 6-man and just killing everyone on the other team inside
I
60 seconds will be insane.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
while
be surprised
also
if
not
that's how it
touching the
goes.
ground.
if they
Yeah.
don't, I think they might need to put some ranking into it because there's going to be like one person on each game who does that, who just kills everyone else. The trailer for it, really cool. Like
Yeah.
it shows off a lot of what's going to happen.
I really
and
want
it's
to play
really
that game. I
cool.
want to play that single player so bad.
Oh, I've already said on this show. The single player's great. You let me talk about Titanfall. I'm really happy now.
Well, Jack, you played a video game last night, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So the beta for Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Tom Clancy's
Tom
Ghost
Clancy's
Recon's Wildlands.
You
came
got to wrap
out.
that Clancy.
Came out. So it got released yesterday, and you could download it from 11 a.m. Or
Okay.
rather, you could play it from 11 a.m. So I got my code on Thursday,
Okay.
and I started playing it. I started downloading it, and I got it downloaded by some point during around about 2 o'clock yesterday.
All right.
Started playing it, and I mean, it looks good. It
So,
feels like a Tom Clancy game.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon's Wildland is coming out on March the 7th.
Yep.
And it was announced a couple of years ago, maybe 2015 E3,
I think so,
I want
yeah.
to say. Yeah.
I think so.
And it is their new third-person tactical shooter, team-based, big open world. It's very much the, you and your posse of dudes can approach
Yeah.
these big compounds and stuff. It's basically like the most interesting bit from Far Cry 3 and 4 extrapolated out to you and a group of dudes in like a modern military setting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's a very apt description. That's something that I sort of felt as well. It was, the sort of open world aspect to it is very much a Far Cry-esque sort of game.
Yeah, like the best bit about Far Cry 3 and 4 is seeing an outpost and like stalking it out, going, okay, there are guards here and here.
Yeah.
There is a tiger cage here. I want to do this. I want to Molotov there and then smash this and then bust the tiger cage open. And that's awesome.
I
That's
think
really fun.
One of the best features of that game is, so you're the leader of your squad. You get all your customizability at the start when you go into it, so you can have your guy wearing a ghillie suit and stuff like that. It looks really amazing.
So you can like do outfits and stuff as
You
well.
can do proper full-on customization of that stuff, and you find weapon crates as you go along as well at different places, and you unlock different weapons that way. I found a sniper rifle the other
Were you
yesterday, which
playing
was
online with dudes?
I was playing as the just in my own game. There is an
Okay.
option at the moment. It said like it kept popping up on the screen saying, "Oh, hold down A, press and hold A if you want to join an online session." So if you want to go in with 4 other random people, which I'm not too keen on because obviously there's that whole issue of one guy could really mess you up
Yeah.
if you're trying to do something really stealthily. And
It's
stuff. I think
so squad based that you kind of want to
Yeah.
know
You
the
need-
posse you're
you
rolling
need-
with, don't
and I
you?
mean,
Yeah.
the AI sometimes are. At the moment, obviously, it is still a beta. So yesterday, when I was playing one of the missions, one of the AI managed to glitch himself inside the side of a cliff. So he wasn't coming to me when I called my squad to regroup. But then again, when you jump into a vehicle, he just somehow teleports back into your vehicle, which is good. But yeah, so you get your feature you can send out a drone, and you can scout the area. You can mark all your targets and whatever. And you can do like sync shots. So you hover over so you aim over a target, press A, and then one of your squad mates will get into a position to take a shot at him. So if there's 2 guys, you can tell him to take a shot at one of them, and whilst you're shooting the other guy, which is pretty good. It does take some time to obviously cool down and stuff, but yeah, one of the things that I found with the AI is if you were sort of in like a vantage point and you wanted to send your AI squad mates to maybe around the other side of a building, you can hold down the right bumper and you get like your command wheel and you can send them where you want to go. But if you send them there, they won't always sort of take the most sneakiest route to get to that position. So sometimes there'll be about 3 or 4 enemies and they're just in the general area, and you send them
through the middle.
Yeah, you send them over to the right-hand side behind the building to get some cover, and they'll just run straight at the enemy and be surprised when they get shot at, which I think is, well, I know it's a beta and it might be something that they need to smoothen out, but, I
absolutely love the PlayStation 2 games, Conflict, Desert Storm, and Desert Storm 2, and Global Storm.
Yeah.
I think they are wicked games. They're some of my favourite games of all time, and they are very much the same, but they're not like open world approaching compounds. It's you and your team of 3 other people, and you're going through missions and levels and stuff, but it's heavily squad based. You can control each member in turn, and you can offer incredibly nuanced levels of like squad command and orders. And then also obviously you can like lock one dude in place and take over another guy, so you can set up choke points and ambushes and other stuff, and you can even play it multiplayer as well. It's awesome game, some of my favourites. Really, really upset when they made that new one, Denied Ops, that wasn't like the old ones and wasn't as good, and no one bought it, and I think that studio ended up shutting down actually, which was really sad. But I was hoping that this game would be like that, because that, to me, that if this game turned out to just be a new Conflict Desert Storm, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, it sounds like it's almost there.
It is. It's there in the fact that you can send your group of people. I don't think there is any possibility of taking over a certain person and saying you go here, you go here, you go here, and then on the count of 3 we'll all go in and take out the guys and stuff like that. I don't think that that's in the game currently. I don't know if that's maybe something they're working on for the full release, but in the beta at the moment, it's not in there. It's certainly just very much we want our group to go over here, we'll send them over here. But yeah, I mean, it's the landscape looks pretty good. I mean, you can get into helicopters and you can get around fairly easily. And one thing that I like is, whilst you're in the air, it doesn't mean that stuff in the environment doesn't stop happening. So I was in a helicopter flying to my waypoint yesterday, and below me I saw a car explode, and you can see that there are civilians getting ambushed by random militia, and you can actually see that happening around you, and it will appear as like a little red dot on the screen where there's like supplies that you need to go and tag so that the army can go and collect those supplies. But yeah, you can go down, and yeah, just random events happen everywhere, and if you do get caught by the enemy, then they will start sending reinforcements, and they will start sending a group of guys to come over and actually help them out, and there'll be a lot of people coming to attack you, which is what happened yesterday. I went to a checkpoint somewhere near a motorway, and I stealthily took out a couple of guys, and then one of my squad mates ran over, and again he got seen, and then they started calling more and more backup, and then eventually I just ran away in a helicopter. But it's a very good game for what it is at the moment, and I've been a massive fan of the Tom Clancy series as well for such a long time as well.
It is far too common in video games like this for developers to really, really skimp on the single player AI and not put enough effort in there to make, because they focus on multiplayer.
That's exactly what happened in Halo 5, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what happened in Halo 5. Even Resident Evil 5. Like, even going back as far as that, it's games that have a multiplayer focus first, especially cooperative. It can be far, far too common for them to not put in a robust enough AI for single player and command system for single player as well. Because, like I said, Conflict Desert Storm that game is 15, 17 years old or something, but it's got a very robust command system in it, so you can control people and do stuff with it. So I really, really hope for Ghost Recon Wildlands they make that nuanced enough, because I don't want to sound like a loner or a curmudgeon, but it's hard to find 4 people who want to sit and play the same game together and do it in the same way at the same time for long stretches of time.
And I don't think there's going to be any kind of split screen in it, so you can't just sit down on one console with a couple of controllers and play it. So you're going to have to, every person is going to have to want to play this game, is going to have to buy it. They're going to have to all be on the same console. They're all going to have to buy the online services to play it as well. Not everyone's going to want to do that, which again, cool. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a brilliant game. Like I say, I've been a massive fan of Tom Clancy and the games that he's put out, and the ones that involve that sort of, you're the leader of your squad, go over here, you can command them around and stuff, and it looks good. And
I hope it's good. Yeah, it's got just over a month to iron out the kinks, iron out the bugs, and release, and then maybe it will be rad. Maybe it won't. We'll have to see. Jack, I think before we do Hall of Game and finish off the show, do you want to listen to a track from The Witcher?
So we've got 2 up for selection. We've got Tesha Mutner, which I believe is from Blood and Wine.
Yeah, Tesha Mutner's the Vampire
And we've
Fortress.
also got probably mine and Dylan's favourite track. It's Another Round for Everyone. This, I believe, is the Gwent track in the Vanilla Witcher. So which one do you guys want?
Let's go for the Gwent one.
Let's go for the Gwent one. I'm down with the Gwent one.
We'll go for the Gwent one. We'll be back in a
I want to hear that
couple of
other
minutes.
one as well. So, and we're back. That was Another Round for Everyone, aka the Gwent track.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned it before the show when we were walking in, but you can also now, I believe, in the patch that they're going to be releasing, you can toggle that music to be your Gwent music that plays whilst you're actually playing the Gwent game,
great.
which is, it's fantastic.
Because the monster music is kind of scary, and I just want Gwent music. I play the monster deck a lot.
It's spooky.
It's too much for me.
It's spooky. So, we're going to do Hall of Game. We've gone through so much today. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of news going on.
Yeah.
But Hall of Game, got a fun one this week.
Yeah.
We're going to do our favourite game of the last generation. That is our favourite game from the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii. Suppose the DS as well is in there as well. That was probably last generation.
Well, there's so many generations of that, though. It's hard.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll stick to the core three because I don't think you really count PC in there either. So we're going to do our favourite game that was either on the Nintendo Wii, the PlayStation 3, or the Xbox 360. Dylan, I imagine anybody who's listening to any of this show can predict exactly what you're about to say, but could you please enlighten us?
Is it Call of Duty 4?
Obviously.
COD 4, bro. 1v1 me.
Yeah, as you say, anybody who's listened to this is going to know. It's obviously Halo 3. Because, let's face it, Halo 3 is... It's the culmination of those original Halo games. It's
the best one.
Yeah, it gets everything that Halo 1 did right, puts it back in, that they took out in Halo 2, gets every good thing that they did in Halo 2 and keeps it.
While taking out the really boring back half.
Yeah, takes out the dual needlers, which completely destroyed any semblance of balance. And the stories, is there maybe some people say it's a bit lacking, but I love the story in it.
I thought it was perfectly serviceable as a Halo story.
Yeah,
it's probably the most nuanced Halo story they've got, to be fair.
Well, apart from Halo 4.
Yeah, apart from 4, it's probably the best one apart from 4, I guess.
But yeah, like it's...
I quite like the story in 4. Unpopular opinion, but you know.
No, everyone likes the story in 4.
A lot of people thought it was... not
anyway, no,
Halo 3,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, Halo 3, it's brought me together with, like, me and my brother used to play it all the time. I've bonded over it with friends. It's... Like, I've done so many marathons of those games, and obviously once you reach Halo 3, you're knackered, but it's kind of like a rallying cry in the middle of a marathon, because
it's so good.
Yeah, exactly. You just played 2, you feel incredibly down, because that end of it is really boring and hard to play.
It's just 2 hours of the most boring corridors ever.
But then Halo 3 comes in, and yeah, it's just an incredible game that I think obviously deserves its place in the Hall of Game. It defined Xbox 360 for me and a lot of people, because it was a launch title and it was incredible.
It wasn't a launch title.
Wasn't
came out 2 years. The Xbox 360 came out in 2005, and Halo 3 came out in 2007.
No, the only reason I think that is because when I got it, it's on the box.
Oh,
Every
you
time
got?
I think I got one of those ones where it's got the the nice with the orange background hinted in it.
The sick picture of the chief.
And I know they came out at different times, but.
Jack,
that's how I think of it.
we haven't got much time here. Actually, we ended up chatting about loads of other stuff. So, Jack, quickly, because I think if we go quickly through this, and then we can rattle off some upcoming releases, and then I think we have to leave. So, Jack, what's your favourite game of last generation?
So, my favourite game of last generation is an Xbox game, and it's called Borderlands, and it means so much to me because I just love the art style in Borderlands. It's a dystopian sort of setting where you play a character and you're a vault hunter and you're working for a guy called Handsome Jack, and you have to go around and collect all of the 4 vault pieces on the island of Pandora. And yeah, it's just like any shoot 'em up looting RPG game that you play nowadays. But yeah, I love the art style. It's sort of very much a comic book art style to it.
Gearbox cel shaded. Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead.
Telltale games. But yeah, it's fantastic. I remember first picking up that game, and at first I was a bit skeptical about it. I wasn't really one of those guys that liked playing the sort of loot games. But then as I played it a bit more and more and got really into it, I've loved it, and I've went on to buy the Handsome Collection as well, which is Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequels, and they're on my Xbox One, and I like playing all of those kind of games as well. It's something weird about those games that are strangely addicting, because when you go through it and you finish it for the first time, I think you get up to like level 30 something when you finish it the first time. You then can replay the entire story again a second time, but just
keep your level,
and all the other characters are scaled up as well. Wow. All your enemies get scaled up, and it just I think the max level you can reach in any one of those games is like 70. So
yeah, it's
insane, and I like where they're going with it. I've heard a lot of rumours about them talking about Borderlands 3, which I'm very excited for. I don't know how far down the line that is, because obviously they've been working on other stuff as well.
They need to get back from that MOBA-esque
Battleborn thing.
I got Battleborn thinking it was going to be something similar to Borderlands, but just wasn't. But it was a bit of a disappointment, but I've still got my fingers crossed and hoping for. I still can't wait for the day that they announce Borderlands 3. I'm not too sure how far in the future that's going to be, but when it does happen, you can bet your bottom dollar that I am going to be all over that game.
Yeah, those games are cool.
They're good games.
So what about you, Mark? What is your favourite game from the last generation?
My favourite game from last generation is Metal Gear Solid 4.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was the game I bought a PlayStation 3 to play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
And it was, at that time, in the heady days of 2008, it was sort of the first game from this generation, or from that generation, that I saw, and because I was such a huge fan of the other Metal Gear Solid games, Metal Gear Solid 4, not only does it look incredible, and it runs beautifully, but it is such a improvement from a gameplay and technical perspective, not just from visuals, that it sort of, in my mind, Metal Gear Solid 4 demonstrated the power of going from the PS2 to the PS3, because it was like, okay,
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PS2, it's an awesome game, but it plays weird, and the controls are strange, and there are lots of weird quirks to it, and the Metal Gear Solid 4 is just, there's so much to it. It looks incredible, you can do so many things, it plays so much better. It was, in my mind, Metal Gear Solid 4 is emblematic to me of that generational shift, and it is the game I bought a PlayStation 3 to play. I love it. It's awesome. It's so ridiculous as well. Like, it finishes with an hour and 45-minute cutscene.
I remember playing through that final bit when you're going down the sort of hallway,
The microwave
full of
tunnel,
heater,
and you're just jamming on triangle.
tapping on it for like 10 minutes. It felt like you just sat there tapping, and then like he breaks stride for a minute, and you give yourself a bit of a rest, and you're back at it again.
Yeah,
it's one of the most iconic scenes, I think, from any PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah, like at the climax of that game, you have to get to the central server room, and to get there, you have to go through a tunnel filled with microwave radiation emitters. Yeah. And so sort of you leave your crew behind to defend the edge of the tunnel, and you go in, and it starts off showing like the triangle button prompt, and it's saying like press it slowly. So you press it slowly, and then the screen splits, and so it's Solid Snake crawling through this tunnel as you're slowly pressing triangle to help him go through it. And then it just starts showing you cutscenes of all of your squad and your mates, and like the battle raging outside. And you just, over like 5 minutes, you have to start pressing it faster and faster as Solid Snake is getting more and more worn out, and like his suit's starting to melt, and he's in like so much pain, and the battle outside is getting more and more epic. Oh, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's an awesome game.
The one thing I miss is the online Metal Gear Solid 4. Just playing with my mates, because I had a lot of mates in high school when my PS3 was working, and we just played that, and it was walking around with the cardboard box on your head and trying not to get spotted by the other person trying to find you. That was brilliant.
Whenever I played that game, people who played it just apparently didn't use the cardboard box, and there were every deathmatch level had an area in it full of cardboard boxes meant for you to hide in there. So you'd literally go there with the cardboard box and the low-tier shotgun, cardboard box up, someone would run past you, pop up, shotgun back in the box.
Yep.
And you could just win every single game just by doing that, because nobody ever checked boxes.
It's just too many boxes to check.
Sit there with a shotgun. Metal Gear Solid 4, in my mind, is... Even though games in that generation ended up looking and playing better, Metal Gear Solid 4 is like... It encapsulates the PlayStation 3 to me.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because also it's like it was that first big PlayStation 3 exclusive, like the first really big one.
Yeah.
And it's weirdly emblematic as well of, PlayStation 3 has a built-in hard drive, and it plays Blu-ray, so you can have a game that is like a full dual-layer Blu-ray. That's like a 40 gig game in 2008.
Yeah.
And so like before every act was like a 10-minute install where it removed all the stuff from the last act and put in all the data for the next act, because the game was so big.
Yeah.
Like and during those loading scenes, it gave you this lavish, beautifully rendered cutscene of old Snake just smoking a cigarette. And then he'd put it out, and then take a new one and light it, and it just stand there and just smoke for like 10 minutes. I love that game. And
definitely deserving as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the whole game.
Are we gonna give an honourable mention to? I think it deserves it. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, smash out the honourable mention.
I think Wii Sports needs to also be in there, because that defined the last generation, didn't it? It's the biggest game of those three consoles.
And the fact that it was a packaged game with the Wii on release as well.
Yeah.
So everybody had it.
Yeah, everyone who has a Wii has it.
Everybody's played Wii Sports.
Wii Sports single-handedly led to the PlayStation Move and the Microsoft Kinect.
Yeah, exactly.
Single-handedly.
It's an incredible game. I think definitely at least needs an honourable mention, and I think deserves to go onto the cover photo.
Oh yeah, definitely. Wii Sports is cool. So we got some hype just to throw out to finish the show off. There are a couple of games coming out in the next couple of weeks. We got Nioh, Niho, is coming out on the 7th of February, and that is a feudal Japan Dark Souls.
Cool.
Which I believe is PlayStation exclusive.
Oh man.
No.
Yeah, bummer, right?
That happens way too much on this episode, on this show.
Yeah, but that seems cool, I
Yeah,
guess.
it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, like I've seen a few different bits of gameplay for it, and it's been in development hell for years, and it's gone through a few different versions, and it was the one that quite famously had in its options menu, do you want it to look good or run well? And it just had like a toggle switch in options where you could go, okay, well if you want, we can have it at like 1080p and with all the effects, but it's going to run at like 20 frames a second. Or you can put the other way, it's like, you're going to get smooth 60, but maybe you won't get nice smoke effects. I don't know, but that looks cool. And then week after that, on Valentine's Day, For Honor is coming out.
Ah.
Yeah,
What a romantic
unfortunately,
game.
I didn't get access to the beta of that, but it does still look like a pretty okay game. I'm
I'm
not too
interested to see what that's about.
I'm not sold on the multiplayer. I don't know how prepared I'll be going. I will be to go in, 5-on-5 or whatever. However they decide to structure it online. I think the single player is gonna maybe intrigue me, but again, I probably won't get it as when it comes out. I'll probably have a look to see what other people are. If other people are playing the single player, and I'll have a look to see what that's like.
Yeah.
and
I
then
think
I'll
it looks
make
like
my
it could be
decision
really
off of
fun.
that.
It looks like there could be a lot to it. Could also be completely like a nothing.
Yeah, like, medieval knights versus samurais versus Vikings in, is it 4-on-4, like
Something like that, yeah.
objective based
Yeah.
multiplayer with sort of Dark Soulsy combat?
Yeah, I think it's kind of Dark Soulsy, but not quite.
It looks like it has the weight of Dark Souls. Like it looks like you have to commit to your moves the same way in Dark Souls. Like when you hit R2 in Dark Souls, you're doing a heavy attack and you have to commit to that.
Like, you're actually fighting rather than just sort of mashing A until
Yeah.
something else dies. Because that was sort of the premise when they initially went to sell it, wasn't it? It was,
Yeah.
we've got this amazing fighting. And then when the next thing came out, it was like, this seems to have changed a bit.
Yeah, because it's got that counter system as well, hasn't it? Where people swing and then it goes into slow motion, and then you have to move your blade to one of the cardinal directions to block it, depending on where they're swinging from and stuff. So it looks like it's got something going for it. I just don't know if what it's got going for it is what I want.
Yeah. But I think it definitely has a lot for some people.
Yeah.
I think it could do pretty well. It looks
Yeah, I
like a
think so.
fun thing that people will go for.
Yeah, I think so. And then also, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be hyping up March, because March is looking like it's going to be dense with wicked games. So I'm just going to run through what's coming out in March and what dates they are. And I think over the next couple of weeks, we're just going to have to start man, so I know it's not actually March, but February 28th, which is pretty close to March.
Basically March.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn comes out.
Finally.
Incredible.
PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Yeah, again.
Guerrilla Games next game. So the Killzone people are making a new game.
Yeah.
Open world, third person, robot, dinosaur fighting. Looks awesome.
Moose steeds.
March 3rd, the new Zelda. Who's not hyped for that? Yeah, it's like everyone wants new
I mean,
Zelda.
I'll probably sit in your room as you play that as well.
Yeah,
I'll sit down
pre-order
and
is
play
locked
that.
in for that. I'm going to be playing new Zelda. That's cool. March 7, Ghost Recon Wildlands. That looks like it could be really cool.
Yeah.
I hope it's really cool.
Yeah, me too.
March 7th, also Nier Automata. Have you guys been following Nier Automata?
I know the name.
It's the
I've
new
heard of
one. It's
it.
the new one from Platinum Games. It's a sequel to an old PlayStation 3 game called Nier.
No, I don't
It's
know.
you play like a sexy robot lady and you fight loads of giant monsters and stuff. It
Cool.
looks like it could be really cool. It does a lot of weird camera tricks. So sometimes it's like a full-on side-scrolling bullet hell shooter, and then other times it's like a DMC style like character action game. I don't know. That looks like it could be really cool.
Platinum Games make pretty good games, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like this is their A team making this one. It's
Which
not
make
like
the
the
even better
TMNT
ones.
team, you know.
yeah.
March 21st, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Man, that soon, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There a couple more trailers have come out for that in the last few weeks, and
Yeah.
I want to play that game so bad. I don't know them. I think considering I'm also getting Zelda, I don't see me getting Mass Effect for a while, which is a shame, but that game looks good. Well, I don't know. That game looks like more Mass Effect, which is what I
That's
want.
good, right?
Yeah. And then finishing the month off, there's a bunch of other smaller games, but these are sort of the 6 that I thought were pretty big tentpole releases. South Park, The Fractured But Whole comes out March 31st.
I can't wait. I was,
Yeah, dude.
I love The Stick of Truth so much. You know, I downloaded it on Steam the other day and I played it as well because I had it on Xbox and then my Xbox 360 packed up. So I downloaded it on Steam quite a while ago, I think, as well. And I played through it again and it's so funny. And
Yeah, it's
this
an awesome
one-
video game.
This one just looks as if it's going to be just more of the same, really.
Yeah,
And,
it's so
yeah,
funny. It's one of the
it
funniest.
is
Like
so
it's not Obsidian.
Yeah, it's a
making this one.
different-
It's a different
yeah.
studio, which I think is probably why the combat's a bit different as well. It looks like they're doing their own thing,
Yeah.
but it looks like they're trying to make the combat more nuanced, because I think in the Stick of Truth it was relatively easy to get a series of dudes with effects that meant you could just beat every single boss fight really easily, which isn't really a huge problem because it was the writing and exploration of that game that made it really interesting. But I'm hyped for that. Yeah, like March is looking like it's going to be really good.
Yeah. There's a lot coming out. I mean,
yeah,
it makes up for this first sort of a bit of a lacking first 2 months, which is usually what happens. But
yeah, but
it's all sort of like the Christmas hangover, really, from like
like nobody's going to be buying stuff in January anyway. So
yeah,
why release it then?
So guys, I think the last Witcher song we should listen to should be "Ladies of the Woods," because "Ladies of the Woods" is awesome and I love it. But before we put that on, I want to say thanks for coming on the show, guys. I appreciate it. I like the fact that I've got people to talk about video games with every Saturday. It makes me really happy.
Thanks for hosting again.
No worries, bro.
Yep, we're going to sign off now with Ladies of the Woods, which is our final song from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Happy gaming, folks.